Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the clothing company H&M. They've recently been under fire for a pretty big fuck up from their marketing department. Last week a controversy broke out when an ad was released containing this black kid wearing a sweater saying "coolest monkey in the jungle." Now, I'm sure most of you can see where this is going. Downhill pretty quickly, but let's just step back for a second. At face value, this picture really isn't that offensive at all. It's got a kid wearing a green sweater that says "coolest monkey" on it. Without the racial undertones and background, this could appear to be just another clothing ad. But of course, we don't live in a world without racism, so it's pretty hard to ignore the fact that black people have been derogatorily called monkeys in the past. It has been a good long while since that's been a commonplace thing though, so perhaps the offended black people are being a bit overly sensitive. I don't see white people getting all bent out of shape every time they hear the word cracker in a commercial or on a TV ad, and Mexicans aren't throwing fits every time they hear the word bean or beaner out in the wild or in a Taco Bell commercial or something. But if we are being fair, monkey is a much more loaded term to black people, especially in America, and they certainly have a good argument for saying they faced harsher racism and were victims of the term monkey much more, but I digress. Needless to say though, once this H&M ad hit the internet, all hell broke loose on black Twitter and Instagram. One of the first out of the gate with a response was pop singer The Weeknd, who tweeted this: "Woke up this morning shocked and embarrassed by this photo. I'm deeply offended and will not be working with @HM anymore." That's a little over the top. Deeply offended by a sweater and an ad? Get a grip, buddy. But that is one celebrity endorsement H&M has already lost. But The Weeknd is a Canadian, so I guess it's not that big a deal. Plus, I don't really like his new haircut. Or maybe I just really miss making fun of his old one. Either way, The Weeknd's wild hair needs to make a comeback. And he needs to quit virtue signaling with his tweets. And Weeknd wasn't the only high-profile musician to criticize the ad. Rapper and businessman Sean Diddy Combs also jumped in, calling for more respect from the fashion brand. His tweet read, "Put some respect on it. When you look at this, make sure you see royalty and supernatural God-sent glory. Anything else is disrespectful." That's right, if you don't see blacks as kings and queens and better than everyone else, you're being disrespectful. That's not a racist stance at all. But in all honesty, this is some real we was kings level shit right here. I have to say though, I'm starting to see this more as an insecurity amongst the black people responding than this situation really being a racist or offensive move made by H&M. Diddy and others are so sensitive and offended by the term monkey, it's getting a little cringy. I hate to go to the zoo with some of these guys. They be tweeting and getting offended all over the place. And on top of all that, Diddy goes and makes this tweet with a remake of the original photo, turning the kid into a king and claiming all blacks are kings and shit. It's a little much, bro.
Welcome to the jungle, where we niggas was kings. We had civilization till the white man took it away. We were the people who could fly in pyramid spaceships, please.
Lastly, we got basketball star LeBron James posting this on his Instagram, which has the screen name King James, no less. I'm not kidding. It says, @HM, you got us all wrong. We ain't going for it. Straight up. Enough about y'all and more of what I see when I look at this photo. I see a young king, the ruler of the world, an untouchable force that can never be denied. We as African Americans will always have to break barriers, prove people wrong, and work even harder to prove we belong. But guess what? That's what we love because the benefits at the end of the road are so beautiful. Hashtag live, laugh, love. Hashtag love my people. Followed by black king and queen emojis. And I don't think LeBron realizes this, but the kid in that photo isn't African American like him. These photos were taken in Sweden, where H&M is located, and I believe the kid and his family are African-Africans, so there is that. But regardless, it seems all this is a bit of an overcompensation here. But hey, LeBron, Diddy, Weeknd, if this is what you want to do, knock yourself out, guys. If you want to LARP around playing We Was Kings and shit, that's all gravy with me. Go ahead. I mean, it's utter nonsense and makes you look a little insecure, but you can do it. You could even say you have good reason to try and turn around this whole monkey ad controversy too, but I think saying it was distasteful and poorly worded and planned is quite enough. I wouldn't go so far as to say H&M is racist, but they were a bit careless here with their advertising, and I certainly don't think you need to go all we was kings, but I'm ready to move on.
In the jungle, welcome to the jungle, way back when we were kings, kings. Whoa, nah, it's not just make believe.
Follow Following this outrage, H&M promptly responded, releasing a statement saying it had withdrawn the hoodie from sale and would thoroughly investigate to make sure there was not a repeat of this incident. Seems like a reasonable apology, with a fair correction and promise to do better in the future. What more could you really ask for? Black Twitter and Instagram all had their chances to push their outrage posts and to virtue signal to their bases, of course. Even black YouTubers like Some Black Guy and My Name is Josephine chimed in on this topic last week. And not to bash them for it or anything, I mean, their responses were actually much more measured and rational than the others we've looked at today. I just thought it was funny how these two were about the only ones talking about this story too, besides Chris Raygun, who I think was really stoned in his H&M video. That or he has a lazy eye or something.
Oh my god. Hey everybody, Chris Raygun here. Welcome to another episode of Glasses Off, the show where we talk about some of the stuff we normally cover in a Raygun recap episode.
But wait, there's more. This story doesn't just end with an offensive ad and some outrage online. Oh no. Groups of people in South Africa decided to demonstrate their outrage IRL, in real life. Following all this outrage, over the weekend, no, not him again. Over this past weekend, protesters in South Africa took to the malls to take a stand against the H&M stores in the wild. And what started as simple protest turned into wild and crazy riots.
Oh, god damn! Oh, ninja! Yeah, ninja!
So, although the demonstrators first claimed to be protesters, they effectively turned into vandals as they trashed the H&M stores, knocking over clothing racks, mannequins, and even totally destroying some locations. Now, I don't want to sound too racy here or anything, but hear me out. If you're going to protest a sweater that supposedly calls a black kid a monkey, maybe you shouldn't be out there acting like wild animals yourselves. I don't think literally chimping out on H&M stores is really going to help your cause here. Certainly not if you're trying to deny monkey as an adjective that describes your people. It's quite counterproductive. Just a thought. In fact, things got so bad in South Africa, vandals had to be taken down with rubber bullets by police at an H&M store in Boksburg. The Swedish clothing giant H&M stores in South Africa remain temporarily closed after the doors were shut in response to all this unrest. Which, don't forget, it was all over a simple ad, a simple mistake, an ad that provoked racist accusations, sparked internet outrage on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. An ad with a little black kid in a green sweater that happened to have the wrong word on it. And come to find out, after the weekend, not him again, not him, stop it with that. Well, the kid and his parents aren't even that offended by all this. The mother responded and was saying these virtue signalers were crying wolf. They even went on a news show. Here's a clip of the parents getting interviewed following this controversy.
And the modeling agency is responsible for Liam's photo shoots, and we are always there, either Frank or I, for the photo shoots, and it's no different from that day, whether we remember it or not, but it was no different photo shoot from any other day.
Sounds like they're so busy and productive, they don't even have time to check every piece of clothing their kid puts on at a photo shoot. So they're definitely not going to sweat it over a sweater. Sweat it over a sweater. I just realized that sounds funny. Anyway, they're not going to sweat it over a sweater with the wrong word on it. Don't forget, this family is getting paid fat cash for these commercials. So I don't think they really give a shit. And if the kid and his family aren't the victims here, then who really is? Black people in general across the globe? Because I mean, this family lives in Sweden, and I think they're from Africa, and we got African Americans over here in America freaking out, and then all the way down in the southern hemisphere, South Africans are losing their shit. This is a global epidemic of virtue signaling, and I don't really see the necessity for it. To me, this seems like a victimless crime, a mistake, really, an honest mistake made by H&M that could be seen as offensive, sure, but it's definitely not the end of the world. It may be worthy of a tweet or a response video at the most, but it's definitely not worth rioting in the streets on 3 different continents and destroying stores and private property along the way.
If you'd seen that hoodie with that slogan, would it have rung alarm bells?
Not for me. I wouldn't see such a connection to anything other than my son modeling a shirt. And until the controversy now with the whole furore that is going on, then you kind of look back and wonder.
Lastly, I don't know if the South Africans realize this, but they're only hurting themselves and their people when they destroy and force H&M stores to close. It's mostly black people in their country after all, so it's mostly blacks who shop and work at and earn money at these stores. This whole thing is self-defeating to say the least, and unnecessary at best, so I'd say it's quite frankly a very stupid move all around. What do you guys think? Was H&M being racist when they released this ad? Was it an accident or a secret dog whistle of anti-black racism? And what do you think about the outrage that followed? The tweets and all the "we was Kangs" shit? And what about the destroying of stores in South Africa? Comment your thoughts below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.